just do not want to see the cutie pie Kog'Maw. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look. I'm gonna have to research a little bit more into this Vayne ban. It's probably just just something that Orbit likes to play quite a bit of. But there's the Karthus ban coming out from Orbit, and yeah, Karthus was definitely also a huge issue in that last game as well.
Yeah, Karthus is just an all-around strong champion. So, I don't know that you would normally expect to first pick Karthus, but you can second pick him potentially. So,
I think
we'll see. They kind of sit back.
I think they're looking to grab Urgot here. Because he skipped, the ban out the Nocturne. Nocturne's a
Urgot
perfect,
would be a safe pick.
Perfect, jungler to pick if you want to get someone to the back line and start focusing down someone like the Urgot. So they got options here.
Yeah, and they already banned out that AP Cog,
Oh.
so they don't have to worry about Skara, devastating their back line. And AP Cog works out very well against Urgot, but they do pick up the Shen, so Shen just an all-around strong champion. We'll see who Crumbs is going to play against him. Crumbs, it is a much easier matchup, but actually Shen could go into the jungle, and we've been actually seeing jungle Shen is a lot more common than top lane Shen recently.
Yeah,
you're kind of slower than a lot of other junglers, and you don't have quite the ganking potential that you would like, but he scales so well into late game when you become really tanky, and then having that ultimate for the map control is just huge.
There you go. Graves and Morgana being picked up. Morgana did escape the bans. Urgot also escaped the bans, and Kennen also escaped the bans here as well. So may see an Urgot come in. There it is. There's the Urgot on to Orbit.
And the interesting thing is, I think normally they would pick up Corki as like that early pick, but Graves is just as strong. They're kind of interchangeable picks, but Graves actually does a little bit better against Urgot. So having the quick dash to dodge the projectile so you don't get the lock on, and then having the armor for your passive is actually really strong. Graves is really a common matchup against Urgot, and that should work out well for them. So they expected the Urgot picked Graves.
Would also not be too surprised about a Janna pick here either. Like, you got the shield. We talked about this before, the stacking of the shields on the Urgot.
I would probably pick Soraka. Yeah, there's
That's Soraka. Yeah, Soraka works too. You get the extra sustain.
Janna is very strong, though.
Oh, she's actually switching it up. May actually be going the Ezreal here. I think I would prefer the Urgot in an instance like this, because just having huge tanks up there.
The issue with Urgot is it pigeonholes your team into that tanky frontline team, and that would mean that they're walking right into Scar's Morgana ultimates. So I think they want to have a little bit more flexibility still. I think the Graves pick kind of scared them. So Orb is like, hey, what's going on here for a second? It seems like they're baiting us into this Urgot. Let's pick Ezreal. Ezreal is very safe. You can just Arcane Shift out of that Morg ultimate. And, Soraka is just an all-around strong pick.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So there's the Janna Udyr going to be grabbed up from Dignitas. Janna Graves, pretty beastly lane. Udyr is still not decided, jungle or top lane.
Yep.
So may actually discern that they're on the last pick, or they still got to pick their mid lane. Still also not quite sure where Shen is going at this point, if he's going top or if he's going in jungle.
A lot of where Udyr goes depends on where Shen's going to go. And the nice thing with Janna, not only does Janna combo so well with Graves and all of that quick burst shots, but Janna also combos very well with Udyr in the jungle. So the movement speed passive added to Udyr, it makes his ganks that much more unbearable. And as a movement speed kind of aggressive jungler, that works out very well on him. We'll see if they end up taking him. And so actually, yeah, they probably will. Since it is Shen in the jungle, they'll want to pick up someone else. Like Aurelia would work very well against Vlad top.
See, I was just about to say, because I've been reading up some stuff about like Nocturne going up against Vlad, but alas, he is banned here. So it's still interchangeable. Vlad or Kennen.
Kale, Jax, Aurelia, those are all strong picks.
Yeah, Aurelia works here. Trying to see who else works here. And also, after all this is done, and after we actually get the countdown to actual game, we'll find out, AP or AD kind of straight up. There is the Aurelia. So yeah, Udyr gonna be going into the jungle here. So yeah,
Aurelia just makes sense because Aurelia does very well against both Vladimir and Kennen. So we already know from the last game, Crumbs likes to play Aurelia. So let's get this nice matchup going. Against Vladimir, Aurelia has the burst damage, actually wins the lane early on. So a lot of times the range versus melee, you expect the melee to lose early and then, win a little bit later. Aurelia can actually be kind of aggressive early. You still lose to a degree against the ranged harass since Vlad can out-harass you. But you have enough burst damage, you can just kind of jump in and then jump out. Against Kennen as well, you're going to lose a little bit harder to Kennen up until like level 7 usually. and then you start getting enough damage where you can just dive onto Kennen and start winning that lane.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why it would usually be an AD Kennen top against Aurelia, because you don't have enough damage usually as AP to take down Aurelia. Aurelia can just bully you around if you're AP.
And then mid
I'll actually take
Vlad.
a look at that right now. See what he's going.
Yeah, we'll see if actually where they're going to be going on with those runes. Going to be energy AP. Yeah. Going straight on AP here with the Kennen.
That Kennen's probably going to be going mid, and that was kind of the first thought, was that Kennen would go mid. But Vladimir does work very well against Morgana. Vladimir can actually bully around Morgana early on, but Vladimir will be a little bit safer top than Kennen will, and Kennen as AP just doesn't have enough damage to deal with Aurelia. So send Kennen mid. It's a nice safe matchup, and then they have the double AP comp. It's just a really strong team AoE fighting and having that late game potential with both Kennen and Vladimir.
Yep. I was going to get a little bit extra magic resist there onto the Aurelia, onto Crumbs as well. So you get some extra health regen, be a little bit more sustaining there in top lane. Just,
the health
just stick
regen
around.
is actually the interesting part.
Yeah.
Because it's the health regen for the yellows, and because Vladimir is going to be going top, we don't have to worry about that AD damage. They see, all right, Nubby Pooh Bear is on that pick, so they say, okay, well, it's going to be mid. There's the key. So now he doesn't have to worry about armor, whereas against Kennen, he would have to go armor for yellows. So magic resist on blues is very common, but having the health regen for yellows is pretty uncommon. But because he's going against an AP champ, it doesn't matter, and that'll allow him to just really bully around Vladimir if he plays it right.
Yep. So I mean, Vladimir. So also got to talk a little bit about our dueling junglers here. So you have Shen, you have the global presence once he hits 6. And Udyr though he really requires closing the gap to try and do what he needs to do. But if you look at all 3 lanes, they all have some pretty good escape mechanisms.
Yeah, it's going to be extremely difficult for Udyr to get ganks, but for the most part, you see we have defensive lanes for Dignitas as well. So they kind of want to just sit back and get their farm on. Aurelia late game will be very strong. You'll have to worry about the fact that Vladimir is also going to be devastating late game, but Morgana, she's going to be safe mid as well. Graves and Janna are pretty safe bottom. It's really difficult to gank a Janna lane, particularly as Shen. That's just not going to happen. So for the most part, Dominate is just going to be extremely aggressive with counter jungling, and the Janna movement speed passive helps so much for counter jungling. You can just run from camp to camp, and he's going to have a free farm kind of game in the jungle, and we'll see how that works out for him.
Yeah, and even though High Nine's looking to, I think also once looking to stay back, looking to farm, hit 6, get the ult, and you can just have your presence in any lane. It's gonna be rough to to try and gank bot and mid because Scar Morgana's just very difficult to gank. You have the shield, you just waltz on out. I think top may actually be a good target, though.
Yeah. Top is going to be his primary target, and if he needs to, he can ult down bottom, but he needs Vladimir to get off at a good pace against Aurelia because of the fact that after a couple of levels, Aurelia can just start diving Vlad and has enough burst damage to kind of take him down. So, any early pressure against Aurelia can really set Crumbs behind, and then the entire game, that's the nice thing about Shen, he can focus on his jungle going towards the top lane. Being on blue side, it's a little bit more difficult because most of your jungle sits on the bottom lane, so you can't just infinite jungle top lane because there's just no creeps up there. But even so, he can kind of try and focus up there and then head in when he needs to.
Yep. So and then so Udyr for the most part. And his counter jungle options are pretty strong here, and then since he's not going to have so much presence in the lane, it's going to be a little bit more convenient for him to go ahead and just farm up. Start working towards mid, start working towards late game. But again, have to wait, have to see. And it's just for a second there, for just for an errant second, it's just kind of like remembering back in the days when Jat was still around, seeing all the Udyr almost every game. I remember. Well. Yes, I remember. I remember Providence quite well actually. It was quite a windy day last I met them in the tavern. That actually did happen. I actually did see them at a bar, right after they lost. Yeah, that was a fun time. That was a fun time.
Right after they lost.
Yeah, but there was still high spirits, and
Well, because they were in a tavern.
Well, of course.
But regardless, Dignitas has been so strong for quite some time.
Oh yeah.
I'm really excited to see how they perform at OGN. I would be really excited to see how they perform at IPL5 too, though. So
they gotta get there first.
They have to qualify first. So. We'll see. There's still 2 more qualifiers after this one, and they're still in this one. They're 1 game down, so it's not like they've been written off yet.
But Orbit could absolutely take it here as well. And remember, whoever wins here goes into semifinals to face off against TSM Evo. And while Orbit and Dignitas did not beat each other at MLG, TSM Evo and Orbit did. Orbit won pretty convincingly, so if Orbit wins here, it could be very interesting. But for now, though, you got Dignitas looking to clump on up. Nice separation now here in the bushes, just waiting for Orbit to try and fall into this trap. But they're going the short way around here, zooming straight on in for the blue. So may see an attempted steal. Everyone's moving in simultaneously. Oh, they got this view on Dominate, but I don't think Dignitas knows. I don't think they know. There we go. Now they know. Scar looking to get some damage. The stun, the root actually going down onto high 9, but everyone's still playing a very delicate dance. There's High with the flash. Can he get something? Can he get anything? No, there's the pink ward actually going down. The bind going down onto Yuzuki. Nothing doing. Nothing doing.
I'm a little bit surprised that he was so aggressive with that flash. He really wanted to pick someone off. He recognized...
Didn't have a taunt. Yeah, he didn't buy taunt. He got the Q first.
I mean, Janna, I think it was Janna. I can't remember who. Was pretty low. One of them
Morgana
was pretty low.
Morgana was low.
Okay, so Scar was pretty low. So if he could have gotten the taunt, that would have been nice. But in the meantime, Dignitas, they're going to be able to take this blue. And so Dominate already has the advantage with jungling, and he's going to have 3/4 of the jungle to his himself. We'll see whether or not Shen can get the counter jungle on the other blue, but Dominate should have the movement speed where he can just run back to his side, doesn't have to worry about it.
Yeah, High Nine's going to have to hurry, in a hurry, to try and go ahead and get that blue if he so desires. But even then, with that last engage, if he did commit to the taunt after the flash, and if it didn't work out, he's going to be a bigger disadvantage in the jungle. Starting out, he would have needed a bigger leash. He would have needed a lot more help from his friends to just go ahead and get started. Oof,
one of the nice things about the flash is that high L9, he doesn't have to worry about needing it early, and he's not going to be ganking any lanes, really. He's not going to be counter jungling. So those are the two real keys where you're going to need flash, is to escape if you're counter jungling and the enemy's closing in on you, or to get a quick gank in. So, I mean, an early flash doesn't really matter for him that much. He can just kind of sit back and farm, which is really what he wants to do anyway.
Locust on point with those shields very early on, too. I mean, Janna's not... If you can get pretty good with Janna, she's an amazing boon to a team. Just you just need to have the right timing there for when those attacks land. And granted, in the end, Ezreal, he's a little bit telegraphed. When he's going ahead, when he shifts over, it's a pretty good indicator that your carry might actually be cracked once or twice there.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see. I'm kind of curious how Nien or Nine, or however you're supposed to say his name, is going to be building Ezreal, because we've seen a lot of Ezreals recently, realizing how strong the W is. And the Essence Flux, it gives you an attack speed slow. It hits over the minions. You're not usually going to use it for harass, but when you're in those 1v1 kind of exchanges, the attack speed slow against the enemy AD carry can just completely shut down a lot of champions' damage. And Graves is one of them. Outside of his quick burst with his buckshot, he's just going to really fall behind on damage as a result of that slow. And then having the Soraka as well, they can be really aggressive early on, taking a little bit too much damage, but even so, they can heal back up afterwards.
He's actually getting some pretty good damage exchange off onto the Janna.
Oh, but Udyr in the meantime coming in on mid, just barely getting out of there, almost got the stun onto Nubby Pooh Bear. Was a really aggressive gank, almost got him. Yep.
So also, I can't also help but think that a lot of people are now, starting to pick up Ezreal, starting to try and get really good with Ezreal, because they just want to look good with Pulse Fire Ezreal. That's just me. I think that's just a lot.
I want to pick up Ezreal because I want to look good, like double lift, and go 19-1 in a tournament game.
That's always nice too. Oh, Dominate actually going pretty aggressive here. He's in the Tri-Brush, could be going down, yes, but Shen's not too far away. Here you go, the flash and the stun down onto Lemonation, and the damage will be enough. Gets taunted under tower. He's taking some free hits and could actually pick up something on this, but no, he will be blocked by the two remaining members of Dignitas and 99. Trying to get something, anything. Dominate ducks back in, is shielded by Locust just in time. Nice pick off from Dignitas. That's what we need.
Yeah, and Soraka, out of anyone on either team, is the most vulnerable. She is very safe from regen standpoint, and usually has enough heals to counteract ganks, but getting low in Soraka is always dangerous. And so really nice job there. And then, switching back and forth, it looked like all three of them almost could have died. And that would have been, I mean, clearly devastating to give up any sort of kills early, but a really nice play for them. They already had the advantage in this game. Vladimir, a little bit aggressive early. He does have the range versus melee advantage, but is pushing Crumbs into the tower. So Crumbs doesn't even care. He can sit back, farm under tower, catch up, and then, once he gets a couple of levels, he can start being a little bit more aggressive against Vladimir.
Yep. I can't also help but think that maybe with like the Shen taunt, because sometimes like what I'll do if I'm playing like Shen or Ram is like I'll taunt, and then if I'm in a situation that I'll taunt and then I'll walk backwards into the turret to just try and extend the time they're under turret.
Well,
yeah. But it was close, though. That was really close.
The tough thing was that he needed to get the damage off, and they were very close to picking up the kill. And if he was kind of just running back, wasting his time moving, then he's not getting any damage that he needs to.
Yep, there you go. In the end, just trying to fake out a little bit with the recall. I was like, nah, I'm totally not going back. I'm just going to go ahead and hit you once.
He wanted to go back.
He wanted to.
It was actually a really nice play by Lucas because the wave is pushing into Dignitas right now, which means that Ezreal's at a disadvantage. He hasn't been able to buy yet, whereas Graves has, and he also doesn't have a lot of mana left. So he can't harass PewDiePie right now, but he's missing on his opportunity to recall. So as a result, Dignitas is going to get all of this farm and be able to push right back into the other wave when the end actually does get an opportunity to go back.
Dominate getting also really aggressive with the warding as well. It's still got about a minute to go until the blue respawns. You still got the time run. Every 5 minutes, those things come back up like clockwork. But actually going to go ahead and spend some time top lane, but that bush is warded. So sees Vladimir move accordingly. Yazuki's not going to have any of that, and Dominate's going to go back to his farming business.
Yeah, it's just actually some nice harass going off from
oh,
the end.
there's
And actually
the ult.
Kennen with the flash ult.
Pooh Bear trying to get down Scar, and there's High with the taunt to follow on up, and Scar's in a really bad spot right now, and that is going to be more than enough. Nice call on the Shen. Fantastic flash with the taunt to go ahead and close the gap, keep Scar still.
Yeah, and we're seeing that constant pressure from PewDiePie, taking advantage of this lane, that early laning advantage. And it's the big thing is it goes back to that force from Locust, where Ezreal can't go back, and so he's going to start falling behind on farm. He's done a nice job of keeping up through this little bit, so he still has a slight advantage from earlier. But I don't know. We'll see if that kind of factors in as PewDiePie starts pushing him under tower without any mana. If he kind of struggles there, he does have Soraka to keep him sustained, so he should be okay.
Yep, just using the ult, looking to clear the wave, keep everybody low, just get some pretty easy last hits before it gets pushed to tower. Before the tower just all greedily takes it all up for himself. I'm talking like the tower's a person. What's wrong with me? Got Dominate though. Still, the counter jungling is just so crazy ridiculous right now. It's like he's so far deep into the enemy jungle at pretty much every opportunity, and it's putting Shen behind slowly, bit by bit. I mean, you got Udyr already has a level advantage on the ninja, and just that's rough. He's got very little to farm off of.
And that's the strength of Udyr with Janna. They actually are grouping up for this dragon now. So Crumbs is perfectly fine in the top lane.
Ult from Vlad. Yazuki's trying to get whatever damage he can, but the flash away from Crumbs, he should be fine. But Dragon, in the meantime, though, Dominate leading the charge right up there face to face. They should be able to grab this pretty easy for themselves and start on that gold lead. Nice, almost nearly. It was about a K&a-half.
Yeah, Dignitas has done a really nice job of controlling this game early on. Crumbs and Vladimir, they are very even up top, but the big thing is that Janna with the Udyr, he's just able to be as aggressive as he wants to be, passing over the blue to Scar. That's going to be nice. And so one nice thing of the Morgana versus Kennen matchup, not only is Morgana usually pretty safe, but Scar can just constantly push Kennen underneath the tower, and Kennen actually really struggles with pushing back. We do see some great damage going on from Ezreal, though. He could actually go in for this. There's the Arcane Shift. Doesn't hit onto Graves, so they will be able to force them back now. And actually, as a result, Graves is going to miss out on some CS, maybe underneath this tower, just because he's going to need to play a little bit more defensively here. Yeah,
I'm not sure if Locust actually had to go ahead and burn that exhaust. I mean, they were pretty safe, but just want to go ahead and guarantee it. But there is a ward in this bush. Shen has been found out high. L9's going to have to go ahead and back off just a little bit. But Dominate's not too far behind. He's popping a potion. He's getting back up to full. And though could be a disastrous bush check there, but there's Morgana. There's Scar coming back up to readjust. There's a potential kill here in the making. It looks like Shen's a little bit trapped, but he could always just go ahead and taunt dash into the Baron Pit, and there's the initial route going down with the pool and the ult. Will he still be rooted? Yes, he will. Dominic, can he follow up? Yes, the flash and the stun. There you go. It's going to be more than enough. Does not have enough time to ult to Nubby Pooh Bear, unfortunately.
I didn't think they were going to be in range, but
they got it.
The stun and then Dominate with the flash in barely got out. I thought Scar was a little bit too far ahead of his team, but even so, really nice job there. Yeah. Dominate with the presence, recognize, all right, Shen, he didn't start his red immediately because he knew that Shen was coming down from the top lane, and there was the threat that he might hang out and try and counter the red. So nice job there, and we'll see. You know, Scar, he can start pushing Kennen underneath this tower, and then Kennen will be kind of vulnerable and slow, and that could open up opportunities for Scar to roam and try and pick up kills around the map.
Yeah, well, you know, Scar was also convenient enough. He was just there in the neighborhood because you're trapped. You're trapped in this little area. You already know Dominate's up here. Scar makes his presence known down here. Oh crap! I just went way too far back. I accidentally clicked on the time bar trying to illustrate something. I feel so silly. But no, Scar was just, you know.
We've all been there. I actually know, but I'll say we have.
Hey, no, there was that one time when we were doing Killing Spree where I wanted to click on the chat bar and I actually just left the lobby entirely because like that's when like Champ Select just started and the quit spectating button is like right there.
Yeah.
That was a big egg on my face moment. Dan, that was also when Dan was with us too, Kaz. It was funny. It was funny for a time.
Oh,
We're back though.
I completely forgot about that. Yeah, that was awesome. In the meantime, we see Cutie Pie getting some really nice damage here, but unfortunately, that's actually to Orb's benefit because Graves is pretty low right now, and then we have the Soraka to back him up. You know, to back up Ezreal. Graves does have some nice damage, and actually the double buff from Crumbs, and now here's the aggression, Aurelia versus Vladimir, and you can't sustain as Vladimir if you can't get up next to the minion waves, so
yeah.
We'll see if Aurelia can continue that, and actually we see, you know, that Aurelia does see Udyr, you know, should be safe there. We'll want to play a little bit more carefully.
Yep, there you go. But Dominate, you know, he knows. They know that they're in a position right now where they can go ahead and pinch Izuki in under his tower. Aurelia popping off the ult. He's very well. He may just back off. Look at nice, good ward coverage just to double check. Now he knows to back off. That averted just a huge disaster, but that also gives Navi Pooh Bear the inkling to go ahead top lane to try and go in for a gank. They're outnumbering them 3-2, but they're not in the right position.
Vladimir did see Udyr walk up to the ward up there, so he
yes.
was, you know, pretty safe. He recognized what was going on. We do see actually the teleport in from Shen, and so Ezreal with some nice aggression, but the quick flash, but there's the flash from high L9, able to pull up that taunt on Janna. Really nice job there.
Very, very good. Just closing those flash taunts. Those flash taunts have just paid off so very much. If you can put a price tag on those things, man, that'd be ridiculous. Actually, let's take a look at the gold. Actually, yeah, we got the first GP10. Looking to, you know, still got some options in the build, you know, depending on things like boots. But here's the thing, though. While Shen is getting off all these, you know, great ganks and assists here, Dominate's pulling out pretty far ahead in gold.
Yeah.
Should almost have a 1K up on him. Got 2 GP10s as opposed to just the 1. Plus all of the counter jungling that's going on in the meantime. Because even, you know, there's still the kills are even, but this gold lead here, you know, it's just pretty much, you know, all from farm and counter jungling here.
The map control from Dominate has been spectacular so far, and not just the counter jungling, but the early oracles, able to get up that ward coverage, and that's where a lot of their gold advantage is from Dominate. And you know, we'll have to see. The lanes are doing very well as a result, and now Crumbs is in the game, and there's the key: get Crumbs in the game, you know, win, save the cheerleader, save the world, and he's doing great up top. Vlad versus Aurelia is a really nice matchup for him.
You know, this is in the works of like a reverse of last game, because, you know, there's the potential here for every lane to just start, you know, ridiculously winning out of control. Ezreal coming down the lane.
Vladimir should be pretty safe to continue farming against Aurelia. I mean, Aurelia has the killing potential, but it really won't be that much of a concern. The issue for Orb right now is the fact that Aurelia is going to be free farming and pulling ahead of Vlad, and that Vlad has to get defensive items. So Vlad already has bought a Doran's and a Cloth Armor as opposed to going for damage. So that's going to set behind Vlad's mid-game build.
Yep.
And when they want to kind of hit that, I don't know, maximum efficiency in the mid-game, they're just not going to have it.
Yep, not to mention, you know, you have the 20 creep lead. You've got a kill up on the Vlad as well. That's quite a bit. Plus, you have all this pushing potential with the ult on a relatively, actually, an insanely short cooldown. That's a minute. Dominate is there in the pit. Dragon is back up. I think they may just go straight out, go for it. The next inkling to get there is Shen. There's High L9 with the Oracles now in retaliation, trying to also get some counter warding done himself. But Udyr's not too far behind. Dominate's right there, waiting in that bush. Crumbs has wandered away from top lane. So now this is an opportunity for Izuki to actually go ahead and catch up in the meantime. There's a little bit of time before Aurelia comes on back up, but that's more than enough for the tower to be pushed. But there you go, Dignitas right there in the Dragon Pit. Easy pickup.
Yeah, and so Aurelia does miss out on a little bit of farm, but not really that much. And the big thing is him coming down. It gave them that extra pressure where it could have been a 4v5 situation. And now after that Dragon, they're actually just going to be pushing this mid. Vladimir did recall, but there's not really anyone here to defend it, and they don't have range pushing capabilities other than Ezreal's ult. So with the ult down, the next wave, they could actually maybe push this tower. The only concern is how low Scar is, and so if Kennen has a really aggressive engage, he will have to watch out that he doesn't go down too quickly.
Yeah, and Scar is got the Zonias in the works. There isn't a large rod. There's almost. Actually, I think we're about like 3. I want to say about like 200, about like maybe like
for
just like
which character?
For Zonias, for Scar. He's got 1,700
he already
to
has
bank.
It.
Does it?
Yeah, I mean when he goes back, it's 1,500 past the needlessly large rod.
Yeah, so it's like 700 for the chain vest, and then for the combine.
It's 800, so it's 1,500 total. He has it. He has it already when he goes back.
All right then. All right, so we'll see Scar go. Next time he backs, there he goes. He's gonna go ahead back now, just buy it straight on out. So, and then also, you got the Wits End top lane on Aurelia. Fantastic choice. Go ahead, get all that magic resist. There you go. Yep, you're right. There it is, the straight on pickup. So Zonia's going to have some fantastic initiation going on into these later fights. Like I said, like I mentioned before, still got the 2 GP10s under there, picking up some extra wards as well. Graves, Cutie Pie. Oh, he's getting close. He's getting close to the IE.
Just 200 off, and so both Graves and Ezreal going for that quick Infinity Edge is definitely going to be nice for both of them. But Ezreal, because he has that kind of Morgana front line with the Zonias already, that's going to be a little bit stronger for him. Kennen starting off with the X-Tech, so he's going to be a little bit behind. And here, the dash.
Wow. Nice dash away. Just dash.
And
in response.
PewDiePie, he didn't avoid it, but he still got himself a little bit to safety. Ezreal is able to take down that bottom turret while Crumbs is pressuring top. And here we're seeing, actually, that there's not really a great range clearer for Orb right now. And even though Graves is a pretty short-range champion, he can be extremely aggressive when pushing, which you usually can't as Graves. Usually you have to sit back and your team struggles at pushing. But there's no one to clear the creep waves for Orbit, so they can be really aggressive. The flash from Lemon Nation just barely getting out of that bind.
Nubby Pooh Bear looking to get a little bit aggressive, but it looks like the tower next wave should actually, without a doubt be going down, unless they can go ahead and clear the wave before it even gets there. But that's the thing, Ezreal. That's their biggest wave clearing opportunity. It's an 80-second ult. Yeah. And it's trying to counteract that.
It reduces with your Qs. Every Q you hit reduces the ult for Ezreal, but it's still not sufficient as a wave clearing ability. It's just not there.
So there you go. Just waiting to see how everything carries on here. There's still a good solid about 2-3K gold lead here for Dignitas. Has been remaining for a pretty good constant since that first Dragon. But still, this push, there's not a whole lot that Orbit can do against this. I mean, you did have, before Ezreal split pushing while everyone was distracted, but with all this aggression, mid tier 1 will go down for Orbit. So now you gotta think about their options. Where do they go from here?
I mean, they have a really nice team composition all around for team fights. If they can force a fight with the Kennen ultimate and with Vladimir, that's going to be really strong. The issue is they're in an unusual kind of timing position because Ezreal just finished his Infinity Edge. However, Kennen is still 200 off of finishing the Zonias, and they need Kennen to finish the Zonias because of the nice AoE that Dignitas has. And if Kennen doesn't, they're just going to eat Kennen alive. And so right now, they kind of need to sit back for both Vladimir and Kennen to get into the game. And Vladimir actually going for a Spirit Visage. So he's way behind on his build right now because of the aggression from Crumbs. And we might even see him going down here for a second if they decide to dive this. And this is the big thing.
They absolutely are. Yuzuki's in a whole lot of trouble here at the Tri-Rush.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Soraka was caught out of position. And so there's the Morg ultimate, both Soraka and Ezreal. We have Ezreal getting out of there, but Lemon Nation goes down very quickly. And the thing is, Dignitas, they recognize how strong they are right now. The bind, not going to get anyone. Cutie Pie just finished his Infinity Edge. Morgana just finished her Zonias. And so their entire team, their builds are matching up really nicely. So they want to be really aggressive with it and push towers while they can. So they get the top one. Yep. They can push down the second one potentially, though someone will want to go back mid. And that's Morgana. She can easily clear the waves against Ezreal, doesn't have to worry about it.
And still, Ken and Nubby Pooh Bear still just a few like spare change. Like, can you spare a quarter for Zonias, please? Just waiting, trying to kill time. Need just get one creep before he has to go back and buy it. He should have, yeah, they should have enough now. You got,
Awesome
just sit
for
back.
Dignitas.
Oh, fantastic.
And the big thing is Dignitas, they, a lot of times when you talk about teams coming back in the game number 2 and they're like, we're angry, blah, 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 which is just, obviously boring caster stuff. But when you're talking about comebacks, they're not ahead by a lot of kills. They're not, they have their gold advantage from pushing.
Oh,
and here's actually Vladimir caught out of position. Once again, Kennen jumping in. It doesn't even matter. He's going to go down pretty quickly. Though Dignitas is actually pretty low. Janna's going to drop to the Vladimir ultimate, and we'll see how much damage Ezreal can do because he is chasing on the Dominate right now. We do see Kennen went down, but actually with the red buff, Ezreal able to pick up another kill, and now the rest of Dignitas is also very low, and we still have that Shen over on the other side pushing. He doesn't have his ultimate, but if we get in on Graves, we could maybe see another kill.
We're waiting for all the cooldowns to pop up for Ezreal, but man, if they had a little bit more communication though, and there was Crumbs trying to recall in that bush back there, and did manage to get it, but Shen's not looking. We're not going to be able to get the turret off this push, but half health on the turret still pretty good considering the situation. But still though, even after that fight, Orb still a good 5k behind, dashing over the wall onto safety. Going to go ahead and recall. But they will go ahead. Is there enough damage? Yeah, there's going to be more than enough damage.
It's a really nice job by Orbit to kind of come back into this game. And they have a really nice AoE team. Dignitas kind of getting caught out of position there. It looked like they were just going to absolutely obliterate both Vladimir and Kennen. But, nice job from the two of them. And then Ezreal with the cleanup, works out so nicely. So Dignitas, they need those organized fights. That's why they want to push down lanes. So they can have an organized fight, keep Graves alive, and have, everything going forward. The reason that Ezreal was so successful there was that he didn't have to worry about any repercussions for any of his actions. He could just dive after people, use his Arcane Shift offensively, and not have to worry about being out of position, which is, what happens when you're in an organized fight. Very quickly, you'd be out of position in that situation. So we'll see if Orbit can keep it up, but it does help them bring them back into the game. We have some cooldown boots for Vladimir. He's going that cooldown build, and he actually finished the Will of the Ancients as well. So that's going to help both him and Kennen be very nice for them in these fights.
And Kennen also did get the Zonias, so counteract, Zonias for Zonias. Going to be a good strategy going there. And also almost looking towards the second Woda as well, so looking to stack those for both of the APs. And Dignitas, done trying to go ahead and get the engage they want. Orbit is split for the time being, but there's Nubby Pooh Bear caught out in the middle. The Shendel going down. The Zonias has also been popped, and Dignitas actually looking pretty weak at the moment. Scar is also very low. Pops his own Zonias, but will he die to this? Doesn't manage to get the kill onto Yuzuki, but in the end is now your time. Now your opportunity to go ahead and clean up high, looking to try and help, but Ezreal will go down, try and get some damage. No, will also fall, and Nubby Pooh Bear is the last one remaining, but no, the last one remaining.
I swear, Dignitas is the king of low HP fights. They
clutch
every single time you see them. They all get so low, but they kite so effectively. And the AOE from Orb, I think Dignitas had to have been scared there. I mean, I was, my pants were soiled just watching that fight. It was like, what the hell is going on?
Open the door to this casting room. The smell is unbearable.
All right, well, we don't have to be quite so graphic. I'm going, but regardless, really nice job from Dignitas. And the follow-up.
No, fantastic.
Graves
job.
was fine the entire fight. Cutie Pie was just so aggressive in that back. Oh, the Ezreal ult.
Ooh.
Didn't really matter. He still had like 500 health left, but it was just the excitement of the moment.
It was. It was the camera just ducked away. I'm like, oh god, no, did it happen?
The big thing with that last fight, though, was they were able to force out Ezreal, and even though they all got extremely low to the AoE, Ezreal wasn't able to cap anyone off, and that was kind of where he worked in the last fight. He was the finisher. That fight, everyone got very low, but because Crumbs, right at the beginning of the fight, Crumbs got up into Ezreal's face and didn't allow him to get any of his damage off, really. So because he was able to force Ezreal out of position, the rest of them could sit back, and even though they got low to the AoE, there wasn't any finishing potential from Orbit. Then the bind from Scar, the long-range bind hitting Ezreal, allowed them to kind of chase him down, dominate just right up front, had the shield, did a really nice job there.
They had to get rid of Nian because otherwise he's elusive enough, has enough damage, has enough burst to go ahead. He could have very well just cleaned up everybody, but that stun managed to keep him down.
Oh, the bind almost getting high.
Those binds, that cutie pie, that smoke screen, it's just like a maze. He's so trapped there, and now he cannot get away. Oof. That's a tough maze. That's a really tough maze to get through.
Yeah, and actually an interesting job from Cutie Pie throwing off the smoke screen. And so Shen, he was scared for a second. He's like, is there something I'm going to be walking into? Like,
no, it's not safe.
You don't know. Just losing that vision can be so disruptive. So he decided to turn around, walked right into Dominate, and so this is going to be an inhibitor. They will have to back off, but taking a really nice early advantage, just pressuring this game the entire time. They get the inhibitor 25 minutes in. We'll be able to back off and then consider pressuring Baron.
They could, and they're all extremely healthy. They're all extremely healthy. You just go ahead and grab the blue. There's the ward still remaining from Orbit, so they know they're taking the blue. And they may actually try and get something off this. This may be a big desperation attempt. And there's Nabi Pooh right out in front. Jana ult in response. The Zonia is going down, keeping everyone contained. Scar's got his own Zonias down as well, but Nabi Pooh will be the first one to go down. And Udyr goes down, Vlad goes down, and Dignitas is still looking ridiculously healthy. High 9 goes down as well, and Yen is the last remaining hope. Trying to get some damage, but Cutie Pie should be able to deal more. But there is the flash in for the pursuit, just waiting for a dash buckshot. Now he's just toying with them.
It's the Janna passive. He's a little bit too strong, but the red buff just barely able to keep him alive, and so he is able to back out of there. Just a really aggressive fight from Orb, but they don't have enough follow-up damage. And Ezreal could almost pick up a couple of these kills, but because Graves is safe, that's the key, is keeping I'm a Cutie Pie alive. Because he's at such high health, he can duel with Ezreal easily. And at 6-0 and 7, there's not many champions that are going to be able to face off against you. He is incredibly strong at this point in the game, and Dignitas just driving it home so efficiently. We'll see. Orb, if they hold off, then they are just now starting to get into Vladimir's build. I mean, Vladimir, all he has is Will the Ancients and Spirit Visage. He is so far behind right now, and a lot of it was that pressure up top. But if he can continue to get back into this game, if they can win, one more fight and then farm and hold off, then they can get back into it. The issue is they don't have a good means of stalling because they don't have the wave clearing capabilities when Dignitas decides to push.
And Nabi Pooh should actually go ahead and be able to buy his own Woda as well. So, double stacking those Wodas, getting the extra AP, getting the extra spell vamp, could also help keep him in the fights a little bit longer. But I don't know. It's a rough spot to be in right now. But that last fight, though, like one of the keys to that last fight and why I think they engaged is the Scar Shield. The Scar Shield went up looking for that extra protection, waited for it, and then got the engagement that they wanted when the shield was pretty much about to expire, but you saw what happened, though. So now Dignitas, they have pretty much free roam here. Baron is, pretty much obtainable, when they get, when they go ahead, push the lanes, get their positioning, because the inhib's still going to be down for a good while still. And Crumb's leading the charge. Dominate, looking to try and get the kill down in a high L9, but does dash out accordingly. Bottom tier 2 should be no problem.
Yeah, and so we'll see how Dignitas continues to push. The big thing is that there's not really a nice way for Orbit to stop them, and so 12K behind. It isn't an insurmountable deficit.
It's not as much as last game.
Right. They've been pretty close in a couple of these fights. There's actually the bind on Shen. We'll see if they go into this. Not really expecting it. One of the issues for Orbit is, with Vlad being behind, he has the cooldown reduction build, and he's not getting to his second reset of abilities, and so it's really just kind of wasted. He doesn't have the burst that he wants, and he's not getting the cooldowns. But actually, the bind onto Ezreal, and it is probably all over there. There is the Kennen ultimate coming in, but the Janna ultimate to get him out of there, and so Dignitas is looking pretty well. Cutie Pie going to work, picks up the first kill, and then picking up Kennen as well. We have the bind. Actually, Kennen with the Zonias is able to pick up a kill and then get out of there. So Orbit turning it around. The double kill on Yuzuki, and he is fierce, chasing him down. We'll be able to get him out of there.
That last fight, Scarra was tanking the tower.
Yeah.
Straight on, taking the tower for the team. And, that's when you're there. When you're there for, so much damage, initiation with the bind and the CC. That you're not supposed to be the one taking. That's Dominate's job. Let him do it. Could be dangerous. There you go. Oh, nice flash away, though, just in time.
And I think that Dignitas, they were kind of thinking along the same lines I was, which is Ezreal. They picked off the Ezreal.
Yeah.
that should be GG. Like, you get the Ezreal, they just won't have enough damage, but because of the survivability of both Kennen and Vladimir with the Zhonyas and with the pull, they can just kind of be really safe and sit back. And so Dignitas kind of shooting themselves in the foot, expecting to win that fight. Dominate chasing into the back line, wasn't quite able to pick up the kills, and so Vladimir just kept on, cushioning like a glove, just, sitting back, letting him fall into him.
Let me hold you. Let me catch you.
Yeah, gets the catch there, and just really nice job.
It's the wonderful. It's just the trust exercises coming in now from Orbit. Just like, I got you. I got your back. Also, which also happens to be underneath this turret plugging away a Scar, but that's beside the point. Baron though is still up for taking, but the inhibitor in mid has now respawned. So if for the optimal Baron take, they're going to Dignitas is going to want to go ahead and take that out once again, swoop on in, let the super minions continue the push. And this should be the last super minion wave, I believe. No, that one is. That one is. So we still got one more.
Yeah, and in the meantime, with the inhibitor up, Dignitas should probably just pressure that, and they do have to worry about the AoE for Orbit. They can't allow too many more fights like that, and they've lost a number of fights so far. We do have the blue pickup for Morgana. Can we get the steal?
Nope.
No. And that's actually kind of a funny thing, is the fact that there's no one on Orbit other than Ezreal who would really need the blue. It's just kind of a wasted thing. It gives cooldown reduction to Vladimir, but he's already has a full cooldown build, so it doesn't matter. And they're actually waiting off in the shadows, trying to see if they can get a quick engage, pick someone off.
This could be bad. Ezreal separate away from the rest of the team, and now Dignitas is moving on in. There is the Kennen ult trying to keep everyone contained, but Janna waiting for the moment to go ahead and Monsoon and get everyone out of there. But right now, Shen is so far away from everyone. But Skara actually caught out away from the rest of the team. There goes Array to his own off as well, just try to keep everyone slowed. Lemonation still staying alive somehow, and there's Locust. There's the kill from Yin, down onto Crumbs, double kill. Dominate goes down as well, and now Dignitas is in the retreating end.
Yeah, and they're just kind of tossing this thing
away.
No,
Locust, no, hold on.
PewDiePie is going to grab that kill, and that is what they needed. Now can he get the Shen as well? There's the double kill. Vladimir is here too, so he has to get out of there, gets the flash, and then kiting back, gets the red buff onto
stun,
the
got the stun.
There is the Ignite, though. He's very close to going down, and actually Yuzuki should be able to pick it up. Doesn't even matter. Kennen gets it, and now Janna will have to get out of there, but should be fine. But that was huge for Orbit to be able to win that fight. Picking up the Ezreal was nice because it probably prevented like a Baron from happening. But in the meantime, bot turret is going to go down to that creep wave. It is going to die almost certainly.
You can do it.
So that will open up an opportunity for Dignitas, where if they win one fight, they get 2 inhibitors, and that would be the end of the game. One last attack.
Can they get to it? Can they do it in time? 7. Oh, that's the worst feeling too. Like you try and defend something. It's like Jenga almost. Like you're playing. The thing's gonna fall. It's just like no.
Jenga.
Yeah, and then Jenga. Then someone
yells.
Jenga. Then whoever you're playing with yells Jenga, stares you straight in the face, and gives you that smirk. Is like, yeah, you just lost.
Is that how people play with you?
That's how
they give you a smirk and like shake their.
That's how my jerk friends play Jenga. Yes.
He was doing the Quagmire head bobbing kind of thing in the studio here. He's like, giggity, I got Jenga.
Moving on. Moving on. The wards going down. Over around the Baron pit, mutual wards going down. So this is the next logical objective. But as the Jenga tower did fall, we do now have 2 open inhibs here on Team Orbit, and Locust was also the only one to survive that last fight, keeping the oracles intact. And I cannot express how vital that is. Granted, yeah, you still got the income to go ahead and buy another one if you need to. But the fact that you have it still immediately available, the fact that you have an oracles at all right now at this stage in the game, because now we're hitting mid to late game here, where the next team fight could it could very well sway things, and just like Orbit could actually come back from this, especially after what happened there. I have no idea where that ult was going.
Well, he was checking Baron. And actually, the Ezreal ult, it was patched a while back to give you vision, and they didn't know where Dignitas was at the time. They didn't have any wards, so they're like, yeah, we should probably check that giant lizard that gives a huge buff.
Might as well.
We actually have the quick rush. Scar, in the meantime, is pushing down mid, and so they don't expect it, really, and they will take a lot of damage, but they're going to kill it fast enough. It doesn't even matter.
Bugged.
We get a free Baron for Dignitas. Really nice job from them, and that's definitely going to help them out.
Now they know, and Scar is still in the mid. Kennen Navi just sneaks on up. It's like, oh, that's where all of you were. That sucks. But, still though, High-L9 trying to get the shove on, trying to bot lane, trying to take that turret. In the meantime, this inhib should go down. There's not really a whole lot Oregon can do to go ahead and defend this.
Down.
Well, yeah, may very well both of them go down, but still trying to take objectives, grasping at them at any anchor they can. Bot tier 2 for Dignitas goes down, but they should be able to go ahead and grab the second inhib in succession, but Shen has still not left bot lane. Very shortly, these Nexus turrets could be focused down, but no, Shen does not call the bluff. He continues to push. Pings going down onto tier 3, and Dignitas is not backing off yet.
They're not going to just push the Nexus turrets against Kennen and Vladimir when they've been losing these fights. The big thing is actually Shen is probably going to be able to get this turret. He's very close, particularly since Kennen is stopping them because Kennen is coming onto Morgana. We have the Ezreal as well. The Kennen ult doesn't hit. Nubby Pooh Bear throwing it off a little bit too late, and so now Crumbs chasing down High-L9. He gets the dash out of there. He should be okay now. Won't really have that much of a concern.
Right.
However, they have Baron buff. They have 2 inhibitors down, and they know that Kennen's ultimate is down as well. This is the perfect opportunity for Dignitas to force a fight.
While everyone's in pursuit of Shen, the mid tier 1 will actually go down for Orbit. We're waiting for, oh wow, that thing didn't even go down. Might as well go ahead and clean that up. Dragon also respawning as well, but now Orbit, they've gotten pretty much all the objectives they can grab with the situation that they've created for themselves. They can't really get any more from this, so now they have to go ahead, they have to double back, they have to defend, because their fancy dance time with Shen walking around the map is unfortunately over. So now back to defense mode. Managed to get 2 towers, well, two and 4/5 towers, pretty much from that, which is not too bad considering their position. They did give up 2 inhibs, but they did defend enough last time for them to both respawn. So now it's just killing time for that Baron to wear off, which should be going. It's halfway done. So you got about a little bit under a minute 45 left on it.
Yeah, and the big issue is that when they were pushing down the 2 inhibitors, because the minions were able to take down that bot turret, they didn't really have an opportunity to engage. In Orbit, they really needed to just force a fight, try and see if they can win a fight to hold off. It would have been kind of an all-or-nothing thing. They didn't really want to go that risky. If they had lost the fight, the game would be over. But because Shen was split-pushing because of the Baron, Dignitas just walked right up, and they were able to take it very easily. And now, with those 2 inhibitors down, they will be able to set themselves up in top lane. They can play very defensively, and with the Kennen, it will be very difficult, if not impossible, for Orbit to force a fight. And so, if Dignitas just plays defensively and sits back, then eventually Orbit is just going to shoot themselves in the foot with the pushing minions.
Yep, and then see, this is all the resources that have to be reallocated to just stop the super minion push, and with that, you see Dignitas actually gathering up top lane. There is a nice ward there from Orb to know that Scar is just on the cusp. Could also get a nice errant bind over the wall. That bind does not hit anyone, and that is Nubby Pooh Bear's Q. Their Shroy is going down, trying to get everyone stuck in the ult, but the Janna Monsoon will keep everyone away. Ult still going off. No stuns really there of note, but the Shen ult going down onto Soraka, keeping her safe. And now Dignitas, they haven't gotten a kill, they haven't gotten quite anything from that. Locust will take a quick shuriken. Scar now doubling back in. Ult is up, grabs 4 members. Will you get the stuns on all of them? 3 of them, yes, 2 of them down. Shen may also go down as well. Dominic going pretty deep, trying to get that kill. Does get it, but does go down as well. Yuzuki going down next. Crumbs, Cutie Pie now focusing down on Soraka. Should not be able to get out of that one. And there's Shen all alone. 150 health, the bind. There you go. There's the ace from Dignitas, and this should be going on. And we are going on to game number 3.
Yeah, in Orbit, they didn't have a lot of options at that point in time. They had the 2 lanes pushing. They needed to engage and engage fast, but with Janna, they're very easily able to disengage. We saw the Janna ultimate going off, knocking Kennen out of there. And then Dignitas, they could just kite as long as they wanted to until they finally would be able to jump back in. And recognizing their advantages, just really nice job there. So
wonderful.
We'll be able to check out game number 3 here, 1-1 in this series. Dignitas with the Korean ping coming back and
still doing it, man.
They started off. They had a great advantage early on. They had a really nice team comp. They had Aurelia versus Vladimir in the top lane. Worked out so well the entire game. Dominate, crushing the entire match. Just being so aggressive with his counter jungling. Having that Janna passive was huge. And, just a really nice overall game played by Dignitas.
The Janna passive and the Janna ult
Yeah.
paid off so much because you see Kennen trying, just struggling to catch up to try and get members in that ult. It's like, I did it. I finally made it. I got all 5 of you in my ult. Monsoon.
Yeah.
Gone. Just, yeah.
It's done.
It's done.
We'll have to see. I mean, it's we won't see a Janna, nerf, or I'm sorry, Janna nerf. We won't see a Janna ban coming into game number 3. We might see a early Janna pick for Orb. Janna's just a really strong champion.
Dignitas,
I think we'll probably
though,
see a Morgana ban, though.
I would like to see Morgana ban, but Dignitas is on first pick going into game number 3, so they may just go ahead and snipe Janna outright. But hey, we're going to find out in just a little bit. Game 3, Dignitas Orbit. Winner here goes on to semifinals and plays against TSM Evo. We will be right back in just a second. IPL5 NA qualifier number 2. See you in a second.